My name is Ben Wilmot, and I've been a resident at Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads since 2007, which comes to 14 years. Moved in here with Connie, my wife. She died in 2010, and I've since then been kept very busy and survived that episode very well. Anyway, the 9/11 thing was interesting because I had forgotten what day it was on, and I asked Siri, and she didn't know. So I Googled it and found out it was on a Tuesday, which struck me as a little unusual considering the circumstances. On 9/11, my wife and I were spending some time with my sister and my brother-in-law in Rehoboth Beach. We'd had a cottage there, and they had agreed to come and spend a few days with us. And on the 11th, which was a Tuesday morning, we were scheduled to leave. And I had the station wagon out on the driveway and was packing up. And Clara Schubarth, the next door neighbor lady, came out the front door and hailed me and said, "Ben, I don't think you're going anywhere today. Go turn on your TV." So went in and turned on the TV and found out what was happening. Well, one of the problems was the Chesapeake Bay Bridge was closed, and it was closed for an indefinite period of time. So we were kind of stranded at the beach. We were there for about 4 days before they finally opened the bridge and we could go home. The good thing about that was that I hadn't spent much time with my sister. Sister and brother-in-law lived in Indiana, and they had flown in to spend time with us at the beach. And so it was a wonderful time to spend with them, and the extra 4 days was a bonus. And the other good thing was that I was sort of sad to leave the beach because there was a shed out in the back and it needed painting, and I had been puttering around with other things and never got to it. So I took advantage of the 4 days to paint the shed. Didn't even need the car in Rehoboth. You could just get on your bike and go over to the hardware store and get the stuff, get the paint and everything, and come back and paint it. And we had a lot of bonding with my sister and my brother-in-law. And then finally they opened the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and we drove home. We lived in Montebello, which is a condominium down on Route 1, a little bit south of Alexandria. And we were on the 14th floor, and we had a great view of the Potomac River. And so we could see the airplanes coming and going all the time normally. And of course that all stopped. There were no airplanes, and my poor sister and brother-in-law were trying to get home to Indiana, and they couldn't get out because there were no flights. So we spent another 3 or 4 days at our condo, and of the 4 of us, I think my sister, who had a lot of troubles in her life, was the most sanguine member of the group. You know, we were all a little antsy and tense, but she was very, very relaxed. My sister died last month, and so that helped bring back that memory a little bit. Anyway, they finally got exasperated without not being able to fly out, so they were able to rent a car and drive home to Indiana. The other positive thing that came out of that is the rector of our church. I never thought he was a really particularly warm, fuzzy type person, and he wasn't a particularly interesting preacher, to me at least. Anyway, my rector was a chaplain, and he was called to minister to the wounded and last rites and that kind of thing for the victims at the Pentagon. And it was obvious to me, at least, that after that, his sermons became much more interesting and much more meaningful. So between painting the shed and the improvement in our clergy's approach and my bonding with my sister, there were a lot of good things that came out of that terrible tragedy. I don't have any thoughts at all really about how it changed the country. I think it of course, made us more vigilant, but it's something that I'm sure we'll all never forget.